Hi, all. December 4th, 2023. I am very happy to report the sun is out. I definitely get affected by the weather. And here in Sacramento, we've had like some overcast and a lot of overcast and actually some raining, which I like for a change, but I don't like it every day. So I am jumping on here to talk about a little bit about what I feel like people want to hear. I'm asking myself that because I know what I want to talk about, right? And the top things are love and relationships, being yourself, a lot of self worth issues, because I think this is such a big topic. While maybe not other people would think it's very important, or, whatever the reason is, it's been part of my journey. And so that's what I'm going to do. I think I just need to do that more, but I don't really get enough feedback because in the holistic model of my 20 years in holistic health and wellness, I've studied so many different aspects, including human behavior. And that's a huge part of what's fascinated me. But basically, my perspective, this is what I think is so interesting in life, is that everybody just has a different perspective, right? Because of our upbringings and our influences. Duh, you would say, right? Duh. But I think when you grow up thinking like you only know your own way. That's why we have sometimes the reason that we have expectations of others, including etiquette, right? Why the hell would I think somebody's going to have the same etiquette as me, or, everybody? Just why would I even think that? And I think just going into the world feeling, yeah, I'm already kind of sheltered, um, and thinking as an adult I was going to have to know everything, was very intimidated by that part of it. So I can just speak, if you haven't heard me before, just speaking from that perspective of, I remember what it was like to be so introverted and sheltered, and not that it was that bad, but I do think I was, and naive about a lot of things. So I haven't talked about at all about eating lifestyle, the organic, not organic, which I could totally talk so much shit about. It's like you worry about all of these things. I got into it actually around the age 23 about, because while I was interested in it, I had some hypoglycemic episodes and I didn't know what the fuck that was about. But just this whole, okay, you're trying to eat well, stay in shape, and you're doing it, you're not doing it for vanity. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, trying to live longer? Like, is that the goal? And I've always been about minimizing, not doing things, all things in moderation. All these sayings you heard that you weren't really, I don't know, couldn't really apply, or um you could apply that situation, but maybe you didn't, right? Because I was always pretty conscious about buying. So I haven't even talked about that. I haven't I haven't talked about what else haven't I talked about? I feel like maybe not necessarily career choices, because I'm also a life purpose coach. I also haven't talked about my journey over the past 2 to 3 years in finding a job, and that's just for a whole nother, a job that pays, for a whole nother discussion. But basically, my dilemmas, even, I could keep this simple, right? And just talk about love and relationships. I feel like that's what people want to know about, because there's the mainstream pop culture looking for love, and just, I feel like, while kids are more evolved now, the whole like being single should be cool at this point, right? Like, who the fuck cares? Be single if you find somebody and you like them and whatever, then whatever, whatever. It's basically whatever you want. And so I feel like that still needs to get very much talked about, especially when I see all over social that things are still continuing in terms of the like being hot in your body and how much it matters and all this sort of stuff that I can go back and explain now. Um, just at a deeper level, just more on that topic and caring about it. And so it all comes back to illusions, this life of illusions. Um, Things you thought to be true, you thought about the world or about your fears or whatever it is, you thought were true and turned out to be false. Creating your reality and what you want in life. All of that, I know how to help people do that. I know what it's like to come from kind of a negative mindset. Love the saying, labeled tragic optimist, if I was going to be labeled as anything, because I don't like labels. That Dan Son, one of my firefighter guests from Canada, I think his therapist thought of that for him. I don't know, they made it up or whatever it is, but I really like that, tragic optimist. And me talking about the illusions of life, how you can create your own reality of abundance and of love, and but more so, when I think on it more, going back to what do people want to hear? Maybe you don't know what you want to hear, right? But if I was going to talk about the personal empowerment journey that has been my own, and talking about freedom of self, freedom in self, what the hell that means, and the importance of it, I think people would want to hear about that. I think if you listen to me talk about that kind of stuff and why it's important, it would kind of give you more of a like direction and sense, like what the hell are you doing here, right? On this earth or this planet. Like a lot of people in the older generations, 50s and up, like the whole working your entire life to wait to retire and or die. Because And I don't even know where to begin with all of that, other than the illusion of thinking that all of these things outside of us are going to make us happy. Like we're going to have a good life. If you have a family, if you have kids, if you have a great job and you have all of these things, which is why I can explain very well why you will hear all these things, fame, what it is, and people are not happy. Okay. It's more than about giving, yes, self love and all of that to yourself. But if you are not giving back your gifts and your unique purposes, actually, everybody has one, but not everybody finds one, right? You may not understand why, and you will not understand why you are feeling unhappy because you have all of these things. If somebody were to say, oh, you have a great husband, you have great kids, you have this, yeah, emotional ups and downs, you have a great job or whatever, like you should, that word, right? You should be happy. Okay. So overall, in general, yeah, you could say you are happy in general overall, but, again, it's not a destination to me. It's ups and downs. You hear about the war, you hear about hostages, you hear about sex trafficking, you hear about deaths, you hear about cancer. Like it's a constant. So, what I'm trying to say is going inside and looking at yourself and learning ways to feel secure inside of yourself will help you feel happier and secure within yourself, so that no matter what is going on out there, you know, um, is not going to affect you as much. Of course, all of these things, a great relationship and all of that stuff, are enhancements to life, additions to life that can make them beautiful, and to find someone or several people that make you feel loved, right? I thrive in it. I thrive in feeling loved, but I don't always feel like that, right? So for me, this is my therapy. This is my talking out loud to myself. Growing up, it was writing. So for me, I don't even know too, like what I would do if I couldn't write and I couldn't I have my music. I don't want to say couldn't, but like if those were not my outlets, I really don't know what I would be doing. I'd have to find something else. And there's many things that can work for people, but okay, going back to what people want to hear, feeling secure, feeling like you belong, feeling like you are understood, feeling like you are loved, feeling like your needs are met, which for a very long time to admit that I have needs, it's taken me a long time to realize that on different levels, we all have different needs. I haven't, you could go look up the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but like there's just certain things when those things or aren't met and or you repress certain needs, it does certain things to your soul. Okay, so being a place here, there's lots of podcasts, there's lots of shows, there's so much free information. But it is kick-ass when you find somebody who resonates with you and says things in the exact perfect way. But, I want to close, I think, with saying with this is okay, so since I compare a lot in my observations of American pop culture, again, right? How you are supposed to live, right? According to culture, according to religion, and I'm very much against the supposed tos and the shoulds because that is not freedom in self, right? So going back to there's a couple of things that spawned this show today. But ending with I'm just going to give an example of having kids, okay? Just because my daughter asked the other day her dad, she's like, "Do you like kids?" And that it's just funny because back in the day, it was like if you said no, you're looked at as a bad person, right? Or, yeah, I would say you're looked at as a bad person. So, you know, I know that we are a different breed of people because I didn't grow up like that. And that's why I wanted to do a show on choosing to become a parent because it's funny while I grew up babysitting kids and I actually did work in a daycare and I've worked around kids. um, yeah, I would dig the kids that were cool, but not the ones that were assholes. And clearly they are assholes. And so I was never afraid to admit that, but I felt like our generations like didn't really talk about the different sides of parenting and including that it's not always fun and it actually had made me becoming a parent a very irritable person. So it's not for everyone, and I'm definitely not a candidate for multiple kids. So just ending with this little part here is that pop culture, like people, the mainstream would say, oh, it's just what we did at that time, or I didn't protect, or whatever the reason is of why they ended up having their kid. The reason and to not have it. Like if you said you were going to have an abortion back then, like everybody's horrified, not even knowing the situation of why you would choose to do that. Everybody has a different reason, but it would be judged, right? So this topic is a very big deal because I think still there's a lot of people that do it just because they think they should, it's expected of them, or it's a lot of pressure. um even grant oh, when are you going to give me grandkids, like all this sort of a talk, like these sorts of things, the same thing, when are you going to get married, all these expectations from the outside world is a lot of pressure for a lot of people. And fortunately I actually did not have any of those pressures from my own immediate family. So all of my stuff is learned from just observing other people's lifestyles. And so that's why I want to talk about that sort of a thing and people not being afraid to, if you feel like that, if you feel pressured or that it's not for you, like it's something you're supposed to do. So I hope you're getting a feeling now of this personal empowerment sort of a thing. Um, and what I've learned in love relationships and different things like that that I've observed, it's like, so many different things, that a monogamy topic, like the whole everything, what you learn and you go out there in the world and meeting different types of people and looking back and being like, wow, it really is like programming and conditioning, you know? And again, some people realize this as like an adult. This is not new I'm hearing this kind of stuff. And then there's people that are born again with strong sense of self. And none of this, it's not pressures to them. They live their own lives. It's not dictated by anything outside of themselves. But I think more than anything, to end, I said I was going to end. I always say that. Then I think of something more to say. Back to the what people want to hear. I think it's just, I'm going to have to go and just talk about what I know, and maybe you didn't even know what you wanted to hear or needed to hear. But you are not alone in your thoughts. Don't be afraid to share. Everybody, your belief systems can vary. Look at all the stuff going on now about in the supernatural world and people. That's why that's for something else I want to talk about, like that shakes the shit out of your reality. I feel like some stuff is just coming up to be like, I'm going to show you, like, what you thought you knew to be the truth about the world is not what it is. And so I feel like that just keeps coming up. So, talking about the personal empowerment journey, building worth, what's the importance of it, and not thinking that everything outside of you, like that is the answer. It's almost like it's it's just everything that you thought. I don't know. I don't know how to be clear. Just everything you believed about the world is false. And thinking that like you can't make the life you want. Like some people, it's too fantastical and out of this world for them. But I just want to share with you that that is so cliche, that saying, when you've heard it say anything is possible and dreams come true and all of that stuff, like they're so overused, but it's so true, that you can, it is limitless. And me, I can help people create that. But it's not I don't know to say it's a hard, it's not that it's hard, it's really just getting you to that point of believing. And then what kind of life do you want? Right? What kind of life do you want? Do you want something of substance? And what does life mean to you? All right, I'm going to shut my mouth. Hopefully this provided some insight and I was clear. Okay, people, I'm just going to start talking about different things. This is just on the daily. I'm going to talk about different things, but I'm probably always going to come back to love and relationships because I'm a big advocate about how love conquers all. And when you create from love, you can get and have whatever you want. Okay, I'll talk to you next time.